Welcome to the Time Capsule Show, where we explore the meaning of life in the 21st century through the eyes of people just like you and me. I'm Joerenz.
And I'm Monica.
Today, we have children's author Rayna Best. Rayna, welcome.
Thank you. Thank
So
you guys
glad-
so much.
So, can you tell us a little more about what it's like to be a children's author? What inspired you to be an author?
Well, I didn't want to be an author at first. This is something that just kind of came full circle for me because I used to write stories as a child, but I never thought that it would go this far. I just thought that was something that I would do in the past. And then I started working with children. I started having my own children. And I started noticing the different things that they would go through that made them feel isolated and made them, kind of feel alone. So I used those different situations and things that my daughters experienced, and I began writing stories about them.
Yeah, and so I think you had one book that I remember reading on your blog that it had been sort of based on your daughter, Animated Like Me. Could you tell us a little more about that book?
Yeah, so Animated Like Me is a tale of self-love, self-acceptance, inclusion, and having strong friendships. And also it touches on ADHD. So, like I said, I've worked with many different kids over the years. And so, just like my daughter, she was having a hard time fitting in. And there was a time when her teachers and daycare providers thought that she may have ADHD or autism or something along those that realm. And so we dug a little further. We went to the doctor, and the doctor kind of brushed it off by saying, only boys typically have ADHD. And that kind of like infuriated me because, you can't just not look into something like this and only assume that one gender has a certain issue that they're facing. And I just felt like that was stupid. um, so but I decided, my husband and I decided that we were going to love her regardless of if she did have ADHD or did not have ADHD. All we knew that she did struggle with some inclusion issues. And so I wanted to write about that because I wanted her to feel included.
Oh, that's so touching. How did she react when did she get a chance to read the book? How did she react to it?
Yeah, she's excited. She's telling people it's gonna be a TV show. It's like, Mom, we can make a movie. Like, where's our merchandise? Like, she loves it.
Absolutely, yeah. I read I saw that little virtual story time, and I loved getting to meet Cameron the zebra and Camilla the zebra. It's so cute. I could actually imagine it as a animated series.
I hope so. That's what I want.
And so I think this spring you have another book that's coming out. I think it's called My Skin Has Shapes.
Yes, yes, it is. So that book is based on my second oldest daughter. Her name is Kamaya, but Maya for short. So in the story, Maya, she has skin discoloration, but she doesn't let that hinder how she feels about herself. And so she loves her skin and she embraces it. And throughout the story, she has a dream that her skin turns into many different shapes and different colors. So it's really for younger readers to kind of learn about self-love and self-acceptance, but also learn about different shapes and colors. So it's kind of cool.
Wow, that's really like inventive. Like it's like tackling two topics at once right there.
Yeah.
So do those books also come with like little puzzles you can do at the end or like crossword puzzles?
Well, the first book, Anime Like Me, doesn't. I created a puzzle on Shutterfly. So if anybody wanted to do that, they can use my images and do that. I'm fine with that. And then we have some coloring pages for that. And in the back of the book, I do have parental tips and websites for the parents. But with this second book, I do have a crossword puzzle. It's coming out. Is it a crossword puzzle? Yeah, it's a crossword puzzle. I have to make sure. Yes, it's a crossword puzzle. And then I'm thinking about doing some other things that I want to add to like bring it to life. So, I'm just thinking.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
So, if you were pursuing a different path besides writing, what would you be doing and why?
So I think that I would really still be connected with the youth because that's my background. That's how I started. So I can't really imagine myself doing anything else other than something that wouldn't be impactful to them. And so I think I would probably be a motivational speaker for youth. I have a rough background growing up, and I know that growing up, it's a carefree feeling when you don't have to worry about the responsibilities of adults have to worry about. Excuse me, but children go through a lot, and they see a lot, and they experience a lot, and I feel like you can never have too many leaders and role models for them.
I agree. I have some experience like in the teaching realm and like observing classrooms and everything. I realized that sometimes the teachers don't treat them well or they treat them differently because of the age gap, but I don't think that's right because I've seen like some children being yelled in the classroom and then they're going to be yelled at home. That's not good for their emotional development. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. I'm like you. I used to work at a daycare, and I've seen it all. And it's sad because sometimes these teachers don't even realize that that place and that space is that child's safe haven. And so what they're doing as far as like negative self talk and yelling is kind of ruining that experience for that child, and they could be using it in a better way. So I definitely agree.
Agreed. Yeah, like I remember as a kid, I'd have some of these teachers, like, and I can still remember those words in my head. It's really weird because as a kid, you would think like most of those memories flush out. You can remember some. I remember some of those insults my teachers would like. Some of those nastier teachers would sling, and those things kind of stick with you. Their voices get in your head, even when you're doing like other things and things where you're trying to get yourself in the zone. Sometimes those voices will come back and like try to tear you down. But then it's also like there's also those great teachers out there with who have those positive messages. Those teachers you can also really remember. So it goes to show that kids can really like absorb that kind of stuff and it becomes a part of who they are, almost like it's like wiring them for when they're an adult.
Yeah, I agree. And even for parents too. I've had some things said to me as a child by adult figures that have stuck with me in adulthood. And so that's why I write how I write and I write what I write because I know that those things stick because I've gone through it myself.
Agreed. All right, so now we're at the segment of the show we like to call Past, Present, and Future, where we'll be exploring three different periods of your life. So, for the first question, how do you see yourself now? And how does this compare to the person you were 5 years ago?
Now I see myself um, having a growth mindset. Um, I'm, I believe that I'm always changing, always evolving, always growing. I'm open minded now to more things, and my focus is different. I'm more focused on positive traits versus in the past, I just had a very negative outlook on things, and I was really self destructive, and you know, I still was, you know, I still knew that I had time to change, but then I didn't really take on the responsibility that was my own to be the person that changed my life. I think I was kind of waiting on someone else to do it. And so now I know nobody is responsible for your life but you. And so only you can change that. You can't wait for a husband or a wife or a child to do that for you. It has to be you.
Yeah, amen to that. It's so true. Like, yeah, I couldn't have put it any better.
Yeah. It's
So,
sad because a lot of people don't know that.
yeah, it's kind of like they're just expecting someone's like, oh, it's like they're thinking like they're sort of like a Prince Charming or someone's gonna come and save the day and make everything better. Fairy godmother's gonna whoosh her wand,
Yeah.
but no, that's just not how reality works.
Yeah. I agree.
And so, how do you think things will be for you in the next 5 years?
I'm really hoping that I'll publish more books. I'll continue to connect with people like you, and I just want to really get these messages out globally. Excuse me, tongue twister, globally, and just really start to continue to grow and step into who I am and who I'm becoming. So that's my hope. I just hope I continue to grow and reach more people.
We hope so too. So, do you ever imagine, like, for example, like Cameron and Camilla, maybe they'll get to meet other characters in your book series, like sort of like a crossover?
You know what? I haven't thought about that. That is a good question. I do have um, another book coming out that's like a follow up book. And so I think I'm gonna do maybe two more books in that series, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna think about that.
Ooh.
Good question. Thank you.
I like how you have a growth mindset because it's always asking questions as opposed to like making statements like um, how can I get there or what can I do differently. Um, so have you taught that growth mindset with your children?
Yeah, I'm trying. My children are 2, 3, and 8. So my 8-year-old, I started doing affirmations with her. So it's really cute. You can see her. She's like sitting there all peaceful and calm. And like I'll give you an example today. She was like, "Oh, when I come back from spring break, I have to go back to school, and it's gonna be the longest day ever." And I had to, tell her like, we don't want to think about um, future or what happened in the past. We want to focus on today and how we can make today great. And then she was just like, I don't know. I don't know, mom. So it's like, I'm trying, but, kids are just like,
So speaking of which, what principles do you live your life by?
um, yeah, always evolving, always changing, being open minded. Like I have people that I talk to every day that I like try to be like, okay, you have to think this way, and because if you think this way, it'll happen. You can't just focus on the negative and focus on the past things. You have to keep your mind open and speak life into the things that you want. And so that's what I'm all about, just speaking life into what I want and growing and changing and being open minded.
Yeah, it's especially like important to be open minded in today's society, because especially today, especially because of social media making everyone so like extreme on like polar opposite sides of opinions. Like nobody
Yeah.
wants to come to a mutual understanding about anything. It's like, oh, I think I'm right, or I think you're wrong. And even for something as simple as like waffles versus pancakes, people will have like insane like debates over that.
I agree. Like I think that if we all focus on not so much the differences of who we are culturally and all that other stuff, and we just focus on how we're the same and similar, and how we all go through trauma, and how we all go through, you know, different things in life. We all experience, similar situations. One time or another. And so I think if we focus on the things that we do have in common, that would make things a lot better.
So there's a lot of like you've talked about a lot of things such as your book series, your wonderful family and kids. What would you say you're grateful for in your life?
Um, my family, my husband, he's super supportive. Um, I'm grateful for my creativity, grateful for my siblings. I have a great support group, um, my friends, and when I say friends, I mean like people that actually support me. I just call them my friends. So yeah, grateful for I'm grateful for you guys. Yeah, everybody that supports me. I'm grateful.
Yeah, and we're grateful to have you here today.
Thank you.
So do you have a like a gratitude journal or do you have Do you work with your kids on working on gratitude?
Yes. So I do have a gratitude journal. I saw this on TikTok. This girl, she said, okay, you're gonna write down 5 things that you're grateful for, 5 manifestations, things you want to manifest, and 5 affirmations. And so I've been doing that the whole month of March. And then on the back of that page, I have good news. So I write 2 things that happened that are going well in my life, and then I have um, awesome you facts. So I write 3 good things about myself to keep my spirits high. And so I've been doing that the whole month, and it's kind of been really like therapeutic, and it keeps me like focused on being positive versus like where I could just be focusing on the things that aren't going right or the things that I want to happen that hasn't happened yet. And so I'm glad you asked me that.
It's like I've always tried that in the past with like a journal, like just basically writing like a gratitude journal. And I I will like stop like halfway through the month just because I'll forget about it. And it's like, shoot, now I missed 15 days. I gotta start this over.
Yeah. I'm same way. So what I've been doing is just leaving them out so I can see them. So I don't put them away. I just leave them on my table. So when I wake up, I'm like, I'll see my journals. Oh, I gotta go sit down and journal.
Do you also have a vision board?
I do. It's a I have two. I have two. I have one in the closet, and then I have one sitting across from me. So I have just things that I want to do, like in the future, and how I want to grow, and how I want my books to do, and how I want to travel. So I do that too.
Awesome. So, if you were to leave something in a time capsule for people to dig up 100 years later, what would you put in there and why?
I was thinking, thinking about um, this question, and I wouldn't. I would have to say that I wouldn't put anything in there because I feel like 100 years from now, everything that we're doing today will be irrelevant. We'll be so far advanced by then. But I will say the one thing that never loses its value is literature. So, like for now, like now, when we think about like things that happened hundreds of years ago, we don't know what really happened. How do we know? We have to read about it, right? And so I guess it would have to be a piece of literature, something that I write that I could put in there so people can know about today.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you said that because 100 years later, like our stuff would be irrelevant. But it's also interesting that you said literature because most people on the show mention something to do with like their journals or like a book.
Mm,
They don't really do anything like tangible that doesn't involve the written word. And I just think that's so cool. So
yeah.
So like in terms of like a piece of literature, would you want to maybe put one of the books you have now, or do you think you'd put something you'll write down the line?
I'll put them all in there.
Yeah, and the point of those books, it's so true about literature. Like we go back in time, we have books like the Bible that are still around. We have books like from the Middle Ages, like the Canterbury Tales. That wasn't even finished. That's like a fourth of the book done, and people are still in awe about it.
Yeah. So yeah, literature never dies.
Yep. All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to add to tell our viewers? Maybe like a final message?
Um, yes. So if you, first of all, I just want to thank you guys so much for having me on your show. What you guys are doing is so influential and amazing that you guys are opening your platform to so many different people and taking your time out to just let us shine on your platform. I'm just so grateful. So I want to thank you for that. And yeah, so if you guys want to connect with me, you guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. They're all the same handle, RB Scribes. That's SCRIBES. And then that's also my website, rbscribes.com. And then you can check out the virtual video that I put up months ago. But yeah, just that's it. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. And then, as in terms of like, like if people want to buy your books, where can they go and
Mhm.
find that?
They can find them on Walmart.com or BarnesandNobles.com or Amazon.com, wherever major book selling platforms, wherever you like to go and shop.
Awesome. And then for your book, just one last thing. For My Skin Has Shapes, has
Mhm.
that come out yet, or is it going to come out soon?
It comes out April 13th. So, ooh, it's coming up close. Yes. And so, thank you for asking that. So that will also be on Amazon.com and all the other websites that I just mentioned. So that will be available April 13th.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to that.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for being part of our time capsule. Thank you for our viewers for watching, and please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tune in again next week for another amazing addition to our time capsule. Bye.